How's everybody doing? I was literally busting my butt out of the shower. Like I had to take a quick shower and I didn't realize what time it was until I looked at the clock and I was like, wait a minute, I guess I have to do it at 7. And I'm just sitting there and I couldn't remember what it was. Yeah, I'm having one of those days, right? Okay, let me get this kind of fixed just a little bit more. All right. Okay, so I am going on 3 hours sleep. There was a weird flight glitch that we had yesterday. So me and my girlfriends decided to go to, whenever one of us get together, that we turn, whenever one of us turns like a major birthday, like 50 or something like that, then we all go celebrate, right? So it was my friend's turn to celebrate her birthday, and she is a paranormal investigator. So she has always wanted to go to the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum in West Virginia. So the girls and I packed up our bags and off we went to West Virginia. And I'm telling you, if you've never gone, go. And what was really nice is, what are you doing? I'm trying to do something. Anyway, it's definitely worth going. Just the history alone, totally cool. Totally cool. And then we ended up going then to the state prison there that was located, I believe, called Moundsville, West Virginia. And I'm telling you that the prison was definitely spicy. The prison definitely, we haven't got over any evidence yet. So we haven't gone over any EVPs, any of the pictures. We're still looking at all that stuff, right? So, and then on the way there, I was like, okay, God, I want to be able to see Bigfoot. Like, I want to see Bigfoot, and I want to be able to see like Bigfoot with his girlfriend, right? Like that's what I was putting out there. And so we get there, and then the girls were like, hey, we can go this way. And I'm like, it's a little bit shorter though if we go this way. So we ended up taking Kelli's way, which I don't navigate very often. And that navigation led us to literally the hollers of West Virginia. And well, it was an adventure. Let's just say that. And it was great because we ended up getting back and getting through that was just really fun. I mean, it was a story in itself, but I did see Bigfoot, but it was on a bumper sticker. And I'm like, no, I want to see an actual one. Well, then I saw like a blow up one. And I'm like, because I said I wanted to see one moving. Well, then it was a blow up one. I'm like, all right, Spirit, this ain't funny. Like, I really do want to see one. But I didn't end up getting to see one. But I kind of like that cryptid stuff and things like that. So we were all talking about that. So, but I wasn't as clear, I guess, with my intentions as what I wanted. But Spirit's like, hey, let's do this. I'm like, jerks. So the best thing I've gotten so far was a t-shirt. So I don't know if you guys can see it. West Virginia, keeping it squatchy. So I had to get myself a t-shirt, right? So that's what ended up happening to me this weekend. We had a little bit of a glitch on the plane ride back. They insisted on sending us to Lansing, Michigan, which is nowhere near Nebraska. And the lady that I was talking to clearly didn't understand geography. And when I said that, it'd be great if I could talk to somebody that knew a little bit more about geography, she said that she knew math. I said, that's geometry. And she then went ahead and got me the manager. So that was fun. So anyway, needless to say, they wanted to send us all over, and I wouldn't have been able to even get back here until almost 4 or 5 o'clock at night, today's time. And I said, I can get a car and drive our butt home in less than 6 hours. So we ended up then go ahead and then driving. So, but they were paying for the rental car, which there was only 4 rental cars available. And one of them was a luxury SUV. So I got the luxury SUV because, well, airlines were going to pay for it. So yeah, that was my adventure. So I got back here this morning, about 4:30 this morning. I've had a little bit of sleep. As you can see, I don't have a couch behind me because I had a bunch of movers at my house this morning because the oldest has officially moved out. She is on her own. So we're down to 2. So we got one that's out. She's getting ready to go to college for geriatric, which I love that. She wants to be a nurse in geriatric. Love. And then I got another one here that's going to be a senior and one that's a sophomore. So I'm almost there. Almost there. So, all righty. Like I said, I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about my adventure. So it's always an adventure, I guess, if people go with me, because weird things happen. So, but like I said, I'm still searching through some EVP stuff like that. My friend Ange did end up like she has a FLIR, which is kind of a heat sensory type of thermal cam. And so she was recording me as I was kind of picking up on some stuff. And she was really interested because she keeps saying that whenever I kind of tap in a little bit, my body temperature actually changes. And I said, actually, that's true. It does. My head and my ears will actually end up going almost purple. And the top of my head goes red and it gets really, really hot. That's because there's a lot of heat transfer, a lot of heat energy that happens. So it was pretty funny because she kept saying, she goes, your body, your head is completely different the rest of your body. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, that happens when I tap in. So, okay. So if you guys have never attended one of these Q&As, it's pretty easy. If you have any questions, you just ask. I'm not necessarily going to be doing readings per se, but a lot of people have different questions, and there's not a lot of psychic mediums that are always available to be able to help answer questions. So that's what the purpose is here today, to be able to help you guys out with questions. So, Lynn, what's a good stone for a pregnant woman to carry? Rose quartz, unakite or unakite, however you want to pronounce it, and rose quartz and kunzite. So those are going to be your top three for pregnant ladies. Let's see. Elaine, I'm sure anybody's house on the market is going to sell quick. It's a seller's market. Jessica, best one for healing the stomach ulcers in teenagers. Anything yellow, but especially like yellow quartz, citrine, things like that. I would even go with ametrine, which is amethyst and citrine in one crystal. So that one would actually be really, really good. The biggest thing is if she's having ulcers, that she is absolutely a perfectionist and a worrier. And I'm sorry if it's a kid, somebody taught it to him. So, because kids are innocent. The only time they're not is, well, they're not. They're always innocent. It's the parents that make them weird. So, best tips for manifesting a home. Ooh, that's a good one, Sarah. What I'm going to tell you is, it's just like I did this one, is I imagine what it was like to clean it, go to the bathroom in it, shower in it. Where does the kitchen look? How's the bathroom look? Like I went in. And remember, you just really got to think about this stuff for 7 minutes or 7 seconds, excuse me. But if you think about it throughout the day, you're going to be able to manifest it faster. So that's a really a great way of doing it, is just imagine what it's like to already have it, already to be living in it, not when, not how, not where necessarily. Your job is just to really focus in on what it is that you want. So Sherry was asking, she has an amethyst that faded with the sun. Is the power still good? It is. Absolutely. It's just the same darn thing. It's just not as purpley or bright. So that's fine. So still the same thing. Thoughts on the full moon on the 22nd? Thank goodness it's not going to be nearly as spicy as June and July. So, but we are now, I believe, got like 5 or 6 planets or planetary bodies in retrograde. I say bodies because Cryon we consider kind of a planet, but not. So yeah, that when all those retrogrades happen, what that does is it slows us down to really kind of call us out on our own crap. And so that's why a lot of us have been real tired lately. We're getting better. We're getting more energy, but clarity is definitely there. We're getting very clear on what we need to do, who we need to do it with, who we don't need to do it with. It's becoming a lot more black and white. So I've been telling people, I'm like, please don't sit there and worry about the what ifs. Dive in. Let's go. Let's do it. So don't waste your time worrying about what other people might say or what they might think, or what if you fail, but what if you succeed? Like, I guess I'm the type of person that there was never a plan B. Eric and I don't do a plan B. Screw the plan B, because the plan A is going to work. It may not work how you think it's supposed to go, but the plan A always works. But if you're focusing in on what if, oh my gosh, well, then you're going to get it. You're going to manifest it. And then people, when it comes to their doorstep, they manifest it like, see, I knew this was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen. I'm like, you brought it to your doorstep. Are you kidding me? So focus in on what it is that you want, not what you don't want. You don't focus in on the fear, on the what if, on all that. No, you focus in on what it feels like. Senses. What does it smell? What does it feel? What does it look? What does it taste? You want to engage all those senses to be able to manifest quickly. All right. La 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 la. Dad keeps having bad dreams. Is it because of his age? It could. It could. But bad dreams aren't necessarily bad. So here's the deal. If you're being chased by demons, that's not because you have a negative entity attachment. It's because you're going through a lot of changes. A lot. So birth and death in dreams mean big changes. But just because you die in a dream doesn't mean you're going to die in real life, or if you have demons chasing you, it doesn't mean that you're possessed. It doesn't. Really look up the meanings behind those dreams because they matter, but they're not always bad. You have to always also look at what's going on in your reality that may be showing you where this is coming from. All right. How to help my daughters with nightmares. Jennifer, if they're under the age of 5, which I think they are, a piece of black tourmaline in between the box springs and the mattress is excellent. Make sure that you sage their room, and believe it or not, dream catchers work, but kids have to pick out the dream catchers themselves, and they're going to grab the ugliest one. And then they're going to be like, I want it right there. And then wherever they say they want it, that's where you put it, because they absolutely know where it goes. They just know how energy flows. Don't question it. That's where it goes. So Lindsay's asking about Afghanistan. Should we be preparing for anything? No. I'm not worried. No. I feel heavier about what's going on in Haiti and all the things that are now starting to kind of bubble up to the surface. All these, they got fires going on over here. We got hurricanes going on over here. So Mother Nature is a little pissed. So she's going to cleanse. That's what she does. And this winter here in Nebraska, it's going to be cold. She's cleansing. That's what she does. So we had some floods here 2-3 years ago. She was cleansing. Like I said, it's kind of like if you don't appreciate what you have, she'll take it away so you can appreciate what you don't have then too. So that's when I'm like, when she's just cleansing, that's all that it's going to boil down to it. So, but like I said, I feel heavier about Haiti, about, maybe the Afghan women, that what's going to be happening with them. I'm a little fearful for that, but I don't necessarily think that we're going to have to go to war on this one. So it just doesn't make sense to me with what's going on. So, do I think vaccines will get mandated? Don't know. That one's honestly, it's a 50-50. I think there's a lot of debate to that. There really is. And I'll be real with you. It won't matter what I say, because half the people are going to agree with what I have to say. The other people won't. And there's going to be a big fight. So I choose to not really talk about that subject of COVID, because I don't know if you get that between that and politics. Nope, those are two big hot buttons, and my opinion doesn't matter. And I'll tell you why it doesn't matter. The only time it's going to matter is when I vote. But if my opinion were to matter, then I'm going to try to change it myself. So if I don't like how the school system's being run, I'm going to go on the school board. If I don't like how laws are going, I'm going to run to be a senator. So it's kind of one of those that I tell people all the time, whatever you post on your opinion on Facebook, sorry, it's just an opinion and it's irrelevant. But if you really truly want to make change, then step up to the plate and do something about it. And what that means is, like I said, running for a board, running for politics, writing into your senator, really trying to make a change, bring a new bill into law. So, but I'm sorry, but a lot of families are getting broken because of politics and because of COVID. And I'm telling you, the bad guys, and you know what I'm talking about, that's exactly what they want. They want us to hate each other. They want division, because it's easy to control people with division. It's difficult to divide people in a unified setting. That's why we're called United States. United. I think we forget that word. So I really, really do. Hey, would you stop? Gosh, they're psycho tonight. Stop. So, but that's, like I said, that's the biggest one that I'm going to tell you is that my opinion, it's irrelevant. So it really is, because I'm not running for board. All I can do is make my own choices accordingly to what I feel is right. And that goes with you too. And sometimes we're going to disagree, but I think agreeing to disagree sometimes is just where we're going to have to leave it at, instead of sitting there and battling who's right, who's wrong, because again, that's what they want. They want this debate. They want this split and division. I'm like, don't play the game. I won't. Don't play the game. Again, I'm going to focus in on what I want the world to look like. I'm going to focus in on what I want the law, the government, or whatever else may happen to look like. So again, law of attraction still at play. Don't focus in on the negative and the what if, and you hear about all this other things. And I'm like, I'm telling you, the timeline is jumbled at this point. Focus in on what you want to see. Focus in on the unity. Focus in on the brotherhood. Focus in on the neighbors. Focus in. So I'm telling you, I'm like, we need to start stepping up for each other. If you see somebody, which happened not too long ago at the nail salon for me. So there was a lady that came in. She was extremely rude to the staff, and she was standing next to me. And the next thing I know is that I'm like, I just kept my mouth shut, and she kept talking. And I happened to look at her, and then she goes, do these Chinese people not know anything? And I was like, and I literally put my mask down because I want to make sure she heard me. So I put my mask down. And I said, I am so sorry that they are trying to make you look pretty, but nothing is going to fix that ugly personality of yours. And I don't appreciate it. And I turned around, I said, my mom always said one thing: if you have nothing nice to say, let's not say it at all. And I'll tell you what, she didn't say another word the entire time. And to make my point known, I paid for her manicure and her pedicure. So I'm done. If I see people fighting in front of me, if I see this racism crap in front of me, you're damn Skippy. I'm going to step in and do something about it. I'm not going to sit there and record it and be like, oh, look, a Karen. No, that's not how we get through this. We have to do this together. And so that's why I'm not trying to preach here, but I'm going to preach a little. So I'm just saying, we got to do this together. This hate division is exactly what they want. So if you see it in front of you, if you see it happening, stop it. We need to, sometimes the old adage is true. Sometimes it takes a neighborhood to raise a child. It's true. So, but that means that as we get to adults, that we got to take care of each other too. So, let's see. Mindy, moon water. If I make a jar and use half, can I add more water to it? Oh yeah. Yeah, it'll hold the same vibration. Totally fine. If a citrine drops and breaks, is it still good? Yes and no. I'm going to say, Andy, for you, no. If you want to gift it to somebody else, yes. So how about that? Okay. What path should I be taking in order to my own bakery? Zoe, I will tell you what, this is where I love entrepreneurs. So educate yourself. Educate yourself on the things that you're not good at. And I'm going to tell you what, that doesn't mean going to school. No, that means getting your butt on YouTube and focusing and learning things. I don't know anything about marketing, but I'll be damned if I'm going to pay somebody for it. So I sat for hours on end trying to figure out how to market myself so people can find me. So again, educate yourself on your weak links. Everybody, you want to own a bakery, obviously you know how to bake. Obviously you know how to do that. But do you know how to do taxes? Do you know how to keep customers coming in your door? Like I said, pay attention to the weak spots. Pay attention to your Achilles heel, the things that you don't want to do. And if you can't afford to have somebody do it for you, which a lot of times we can't when we're starting out, then you need to educate yourself on how. Because I'm sorry, in today's day and age, you can't plead stupid anymore. Not with technology at our fingertips. You can't. Let's see here. Good grades, eats. The best ones are going to be, I'm going to say ametrine, but rainbow fluorite. By far, rainbow fluorite is great. Tips on healing from a breakup of a 12-year relationship. Megan, I'm going to tell you what, 2 things. 1, stay busy. Stay busy, stay busy. Number 2, cut cords, cut cords, cut cords. I did a video on YouTube with it, cut cords. But number 3, try not to see what they're doing on social media, because every time you do, you're going to give yourself a dig for about 3 days. So there's going to be 3 days of hell in your head. So the biggest thing I'm going to tell you is try not to look at what that other person is doing. And then lastly, forgive. Forgive. But I'll tell you what, relationships are never a waste of time. They never are. It's because you've learned, and you learned a lot. So don't ever think that this was a waste of time or blah, blah, blah. No, it's no different than my ex-husband and I. I mean, we were together for 5 years. I cheated on him. I left him and I cheated on with another guy. Totally can own that now. But at the same time, I regret? Yes. Yeah, I do. Because I regret how I did it. I should have grown a set and really sat this person down and talked to him about it. But number 2, I got 2 awesome kids out of it. So no, it's never a waste of time, ever. Let's see. Speaking of cords, can you still have cords attached to the deceased? No, not usually. No. And I say usually because the only time that we're going to worry about cords still being attached is if they died and they're literally haunting your ass. They haven't checked into heaven yet, and they're literally like haunting you. So, which is a rare bird, rare. So, keep having encounters with butterflies. Sometimes, Colleen, it is from a loved one. So if you see that butterfly and automatically you think of like grandma, whatever, mom or whatever, then yes, that's a sign from them. But if you see them and you're like, oh, wow, that's so pretty, and you just notice them and nobody's popping into your head, then most likely that is all about your spiritual transformation, because butterflies are all about transformation, change, transformation, but good change, usually in a spiritual sense. Terry, best one for irregular heartbeat is bloodstone, green aventurine, and probably rose quartz. Let's see. How do you get over a love-hate for your job? Nanette, that just means to tell me that the job is good because of the money and the insurance, but it has nothing to do with your passion. So we have to have a day job where we got to eat and pay bills, but it has to be relatively enjoyable. And then we've got this afternoon stuff that we got to figure out what our passion, our purpose is. And that's probably what you're lacking, is trying to figure out what this is. Chronic cough, Catherine, is usually they're doing the same routine day in and day out, and they want an adventure. They want some fun, and they feel obligated to go to work 24/7. And instead of taking a break and literally taking a breath of fresh air and doing something different. Let's see here. Audrey, best stone for job or career is going to be jade or pyrite, because those are big money manifestors. So is citrine and green aventurine. Is the truth going to come out soon? Lord, I hope so. But here's the deal. Us enlightened ones, we know the truth. So do I offer EA2 classes? No, actually, Mindy, I do those twice a year, and EA1 classes I do 4 to 5 times a year. I don't feel anything from crystals, no vibrations or anything. No, not necessarily, Rich. So here's the deal. I don't either. The only time I really kind of feel something is with those higher vibrational type crystals. Most of the ones that I hold on to are very soothing or protecting. So I would tell you, Rich, if that's the case and you're really not feeling any energy from crystals, go for the moldavite. So, and a lot of them are like, oh my God, oh, moldavite. Oh, I'm like, it's not that bad. So I'm sorry, but TikTok, they're teenagers. They like to dramatize. Let's be real. Okay. So I should know I have 3 of them. So they're all about drama and way more so than what needs to be real. Yeah. Chronic sinus congestion, Andy, that is literally somebody's irritating you. Like it's irritation. So usually you're allowing somebody to irritate you. And I say you're allowing it because it always comes back to self, remember? So never about anybody else, but always about self. Jennifer, solar flares in our future. We've already had a few, but you know what? If we do, well, it'll wipe us out. Okay. So I'm good. I'm good to go tomorrow. I'm like, if God wants to take me right here, right now, I'm all right. I'm good with that. And the reason I can say I'm good with that is I've taught my kids. I've dealt with my shit. I've owned my stuff. I know my spiritual connection. I know what's going to happen to me when I cross over, and I'm going to be just fine. This is just a meat wagon with a beautiful soul inside that is always connected to God's source energy. So that's why I'm like going, I never worry about stuff like that. I really don't. So, because if it's going to happen, it even says it in the Bible, no intuitive will be able to predict it. And I'm like, so you live your life every day like you're going to be dying tomorrow, and you don't have to worry about anything. Good crystal help you stop procrastinating. Oh crap, there's like 3 of them. I think jade is one of them. Red jasper and carnelian. Cindy, I think anybody, go for it, Cindy. I think you should. Not sure to go with an okay therapist who I can afford versus a way better coach who is super expensive. Thoughts, Megan? Go with the one that feels right. And I know that sounds so weird. But go with the one that feels right. If you think you can be that person's friend, then that's the one you should go with. And I always tell people don't worry about the money, because if you're supposed to make that connection somehow, the money will just show up, or you'll get a discounted rate or something. Can we manifest goals for somebody else? Nope. You can never, ever manifest for other people. And this is where moms like to debate me. So no, you can't. You can't. You cannot manifest for anybody else. To each their own. The best thing you can do as a parent to try to manifest for somebody else, or whatever the case may be, is lead by example. Show them how it's done. Show them how it's done. And then after a while, they're going to be like, you're just so lucky. How come that always happens to you? You're just really lucky. And you're like, no, it's because I got this thing. Let me show you. Feeling lost, any advice? Feeling blocked and not connected. Cassie, that happens once in a while. And trust me, it still happens to me too. Okay. So understand that when that does happen, that means that your reality needs to take precedence over your spirituality. So whenever I feel tapped out, usually it's because I got some drama going on and I got to squash it. So that's literally what it boils down to. Either that, or you need to be able to make a decision about whatever is happening, because spirit can't decide for you. They can't affect your free will. That's a big no-no. So you have to make that decision yourself. And it's weird. The minute you make the decision, you take the first step forward, that's when spirit's like, hey, how you been? You're like, you're an ass. Been waiting for you for 2 months. Now all of a sudden you just show up after I do all the work. And they're like, yeah, that's how it works. Fine, isn't it? Yeah. Let me see. Kara's asking, has a labradorite ring, wants to repower it. Oh, that's easy. Just stick it out in the full moon. So sage it first, because it used to be somebody else's. So sage it, get rid of all their energy, and then literally charge it in the full moon. Simple. Good crystals, Carrie, for getting married next month. Believe it or not, garnet is really good. So garnet, rose quartz, what's the other one? Pink calcite. Those are excellent ones. These are going fast. Struggling with my career. I don't know what to do. Any advice? The biggest thing I'm going to tell you is, I know this sounds weird, spend time alone. And then before you go to bed, be like, okay, creator, God, whatever you want to call it, label it. Just like, okay, I need some hints. Can you help me out with what I should be doing for my life purpose or my career? Like seriously, help me out. Weird stuff's going to happen. You're going to hear weird stuff. And you're like, oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. I'm like, follow the weird. Follow the weird. Works every time. Upper right shoulder, back pain. That is, MJ, that is literally because you are taking on somebody else's pain as if it is your own, and it's a big burden. So usually moms do that with children. So we worry about them. So that's where that comes from. Elisa, constant migraine, because you're a perfectionist and a control freak, and most likely you really worry about like, what if, like, I got to be perfect. And almost always that is a trauma response from a narcissistic parent. Let's see. Thank you. I'm going to cry. No, you don't need to cry. That's what I'm here for. I help. I like to help. I like doing Q&As. If you guys haven't noticed, I got like once a month I'll be doing one here. Once a month I'll be doing one on Facebook. And then here pretty soon, as soon as I figure out how to do this, I'm gonna start doing them on TikTok too. Oh, and Instagram. Yay. Any ideas on how to see dreams? Tabitha, you know what? I know this sounds weird. Ask God before you go to bed to remember your dreams. And then you're going to wake up and you're going to like get like almost like a camera flash. And as soon as that happens, say it out loud, because you're not, by the time you get up, you're going to not remember. So just say it out loud, whatever you can remember. Ladder, water, spiders, whatever it is, just say it really, really fast. So that'll help then to kind of remember. And then once we get that process going, then it works a little bit better. The other thing you can also do is make sure that you meditate. And the best time to do that, meditate before bed. If you meditate before bed and then you fall asleep, fabulous. That counts, you know. That counts. Family disconnect and lack of village, bringing on resentment, not sure to move on. Shayla, that is not easy stuff. That's not. And it sounds like you're probably getting into that stage 4, which stage 4 is when you stand there isolated and alone and you're looking around going, it feels pretty good, but yeah, I'd like to have some people around. So, but then you sit there and you're like, you know, I'm good without people too. So it's normal. No, it does not, Kimberly. It does not affect, she's got her thyroid removed and she's asking it if it affects the chakra system. It does not. So what that is though, is that I would, through surgery, things like that, I would definitely get some sort of a dark blue or blue crystal, such as like lapis lazuli or blue lace agate, something blue, to be able to kind of keep that chakra balanced while you heal. That's going to help a lot. Asked 5 different questions, psychics, the same question. They all gave me similar answer that seems unrealistic. Are they just telling me what I want to hear? Yep, they are. They are, Tessa. So, and maybe that's why a lot of people follow me, is because I don't bullshit. I don't sugarcoat a turd. I'm like, there's a turd, eat it. We all got to eat a sandwich. Let's go. So that's what I'm like going, I'm going to tell you right off the bat. Like, I've had people come in and they're like, oh, he's my twin flame. I'm like, honey, he ain't your twin flame if he's still married to another woman and he doesn't even know that you exist. Okay. And when you walk by, he completely ignores you. That is not a twin flame. It's an infatuation on your part. So that's usually why. Let's see. Why is it when I am thinking about something, I then see it? Well, it's because your psychic abilities are revving up. That's good. That's good stuff. So eat a turd. I know, right? Let's see here. 222 in the chat. Holy shit. Let's see. Do I ever see people moving from larger cities to rural communities, community gardens? Oh, a little bit. A little bit. Not a whole lot yet. I mean, maybe way down the road, but no, I don't see that. Best ways to cleanse and charge rainbow fluorite. Sage to cleanse it, stick it out in the full moon for a charge. Those are easy. And believe it or not, the full moon can cleanse and charge both. So that's why you'll hear me say full moon a lot, because it really kind of does both. And all I do is just take a pipe, like a cake pan. I throw all my crystals in there. I mean, you can see that big old crystal. I just throw them in there and put them outside right before I'm going to bed. And then when I wake up, I pull them in. It's easy. So get extremely hot in the morning, tired easily, lately become more and more irritated at people. Yep, Allie, that's pretty normal. Yep, we all are. Yeah, that's a lot of us have been having issues with each other. And a lot of things, I don't know if you guys have noticed, it's like everybody's getting challenges thrown at them. I swear God's like, oh, let's just see how patient really people are. And let's just throw some crap their way. Like I said, we didn't even, our flight didn't even have AC, for Pete's sake. So you just kind of have to learn how to roll with it. But there's no point of getting mad or upset or irritated with things that are out of your control. So you just got to learn to be like, well, of course this is going to happen. Well, let's see what's going to happen next. Yeah. Geometry. Okay. I see 5s all day long. Amy, that just means change. There's Eric. Hi, Eric. Hey, could you do me a favor, babe? Never mind. I got it. Never mind. I got to take care of. Let's see here. Does dreaming about a white owl with an injured wing, Tig, that means that you're not paying attention to your spiritual connection. You're being too logical. So and usually it's because you need to meditate a little bit more, probably. Anemia, low B12. What could be the meaning, Lindsay? That's all about the endocrine system. So most likely, I would be checking that thyroid of yours. So most likely, I'm going to say that's a thyroid issue, but almost always that's an endocrine sort of issue. So hopefully, you're seeing an endocrinologist. Aha, I said it right. Crystal suggestion for finding passion. Any of those purple or like white colored, clear white colored crystals. What happens to people who never go through a spiritual awakening? They get to be reborn again. So we here on, I believe the soul cycle is like 23,000 years. And within those 23,000 years, you're supposed to go through a spiritual awakening. So, and if you don't, well, those that don't go through an awakening will be on a different place, doing another 23,000-year-old cycle. But you can't force anybody to go through an awakening. They have to do it in their own time by doing their work here. So, why am I dreaming about my family dying? Alicia, it's because you're getting to a point where you don't need your family. So you don't need to have them to be happy. You don't need to have them around. And so remember, death is change. It means that you just don't need them. So pain in the collarbone, Kendra, that is, I think that's like lack of structure, if I remember right. I'm going to have to look that one up. Collarbone. Oh, by the way, if you guys have not gotten this book, I'm obsessed with this book. Metaphysical Anatomy, Yvette Rose. Boom. You want that? Look at it. Sucker's thick. So collarbone, and it's alphabetized. So let me look up collarbone because now I'm all curious. So I'm going, I think it's support. Coughing. No. Crabs. Oh, Lord. They actually have a meaning behind crabs. Collarbone. Oh, I just thought, hang on. Collarbone. The collarbone is about support and structure in a person's life. You seem to be pushing against circumstances that require you to change certain aspects of yourself that still serve you well. So, yeah, that's what I'm like going. She has a second version, like a Metaphysical Anatomy #2 book. Don't get it. Don't get it. I got this sucker on Amazon. I would love to sit there and say you should buy it from Awakenings, but when these things come in, they're usually tattered and they look like crap, and I don't. So it's just better for you guys to get them on Amazon. But I would absolutely recommend this book. So, because it has all that metaphysical stuff, which I am in October going to do a metaphysical anatomy workshop or class. So we'll be able to go through all that stuff. So let's show you here. Thoughts on Aaron. I don't know Aaron Doty, sorry. So I don't watch a lot of YouTube or TV. I'm one of those weird ones that I'm kind of out on that situations. Inside of my tooth situation and also blood pressure. Blood pressure is anxiety. It's a type of anxiety, but depending on the tooth is dependent on the emotion that you're holding on to. So I know that's weird, but again, that book has everything. So that's usually where it's going to be at. Stacy is saying waking up at 3:33 a.m. Normal. Welcome to enlightenment. So you're going to wake up at 2:22, 2:30, 3:33, 3:30, 4:44. So that's normal. So we just do. There really isn't any necessarily reason, but I will tell you that is usually when you're really tapped in. So that's a good thing. That's almost always when you're just connected to spirit. So that's the best time to meditate. That's the best time to ask questions. That's the best time. Seeing those numbers. So that just means that you're at a stage 3. So whenever you see replicating numbers, you're at a stage 3 of your enlightenment process or phase, I guess you want to call it. But once you see replicating numbers, you will see replicating numbers every day for the rest of your life. Every day. So I've been seeing them for the last 14, 15 years. I don't know Foxtrot. I don't know that phrase, I guess. April, it just means that you need to play more. If you're having dreams about kittens, believe it or not, it means that you need to play a lot more. You're just too serious. You're working and probably studying and doing all this stuff, and you're not having fun. So it's called balance. And I always tell people that, you got to have some fun in life, but don't think for a second that your spirit guides don't like to pull some fun. So they do. Trust me, they're funny. They really are. They like to lighten the load a lot, and they like to, laugh and play and joke around. So, how do you know if you're reading your tarot cards right? Veronica, I'll tell you, I didn't learn reading myself. I learned reading other people. And so that's how I learned, how I was able then to kind of get a practice going. So I'm going to tell you, it's hard for you to read yourself. It's hard for you to read your own cards. But once you figure out how they work, you will find that they never lie. The cards never lie, and they don't. So the only time I disagree is when I'm laying them out and their spirit guides are saying one thing. I'm looking at the cards and it's completely different. I'm like, no, we're going to reshuffle. That doesn't happen very often. Every once in a while it will. Dreaming about tornadoes, Erica, that's drama. That's all about drama. Either you're in drama, bringing drama, around drama, that's drama. Let's see here. Low potassium sometimes is like, if I remember right, that's like a kidney thing. So my guess is we got to watch the kidneys, Christina. And I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nurse either. So I think that's a kidney issue if I'm remembering right. So, and kidneys are a direct link to parents. And you feel like you're not good enough for your parents. Like you want to try to be perfect for your parents. So, but not like uberly perfectionism to where you get migraines. Hopefully that makes sense too. Having trouble manifesting the next career move because you're trying to control how and when. That's your problem. Your job is to imagine what you want. That's your job. And what it's like to have it. That's what you do. That's how you manifest it. You can't. I have so many people that are like, I'm going to win the lottery. I'm going to win the lottery. I'm like, you're telling spirit how you're going to get the money. So is it the fact that you want to win the lottery, or is it the fact that you want the money? Let's break that down. Well, I want the money. Okay, then you're telling spirit that the only way for me to get the money is to win the lottery. Therefore, you're telling spirit how you are to manifest that money. Doesn't work that way. Doesn't work that way. Not necessarily, but most of the time it doesn't. So what happens if you just sit down and decide to write a best-selling novel and get even more money than you would have won in the lottery? So seeing an owl in person, those are spiritual messengers. So that just means that you're really need to pay attention, most unlikely, to your spiritual connection, or you're, again, trying to be too logical. Yes, nurse here, kidneys eliminate potassium. Oh, yay! So you got to remember, I'm a horticulturalist. I know plants. So how in the heck I know how bodies work is beyond me. But it's almost like when I read somebody, I'm like, I just know that answer. And it's called claircognizant, which is the ability to know. I just know. And how I know, I don't know how I know. I just know. Mottled looking skin, sensitivity to cold. Jennifer, that could be a hypothalamus, a thyroid issue, or, believe it or not, a digestive issue. So if you have trouble pooping, that's because you don't let anything go. You don't let anything go. You remember bad things that happened to you 10 years ago. You don't let it go. So usually that's what that one is. But most likely it's a thyroid or hypothalamus in the middle of the brain. Unless some people, I will be real with you, Jennifer, like, I know it sounds weird, but if you died in the cold, like due to hypothermia in a previous life, sometimes the cold really does bother people in this life. So I have seen that a couple times, which was weird. Seeing a heart while meditating. Oh, that's good. That's good. Whenever you see shapes such as like the sacred geometry shapes, like a dodecahedron or the star or the all-seeing eye or things like that, that's a good thing. That's good. Rainbow fluorite crystal broken half in my pocket. Oh, Jessica, you don't need it anymore. Don't need it anymore. What I do whenever I break a crystal is I put it on a piece of selenite and I keep it there for about a month, and then I gift those 2 pieces away, usually to kids. lots of random numbers every day. Can't figure them all out. John, I did on my YouTube channel, I already did a video on the replicating numbers and the different meanings and what they mean. Your job is to figure out what they mean for you. So like 222 means for two. Hopefully we're still going. I don't know, we're having some glitchy issues and I don't know why. But when my husband sees the 222s, almost always that he needs better balance. That's where his kind of comes from. So Bonnie, I did a video on shadow work. So I did a video here on YouTube on shadow work too. So that I'll have to check that out. Rapid heart rate, sometimes AS, I get that too. So a lot of times that does have to do with Earth's heartbeat. So sometimes when you have a Schumann resonance spike or something like that, your heart palpates kind of funny, and then it like kicks back into gear, and then it comes back in and does this, and then it goes away. So it is a type of SVT, but it's very common, especially for those that are beginning to go through a spiritual awakening. So it's really common. I feel the relationship is on a soul level, but requires a wait. Do I wait? Oh yeah, why not? Why not? Because if you don't, you'll always wonder what if. Let's see here. Mary, hawks are the messengers. So usually if you're seeing a hawk flying overhead, you're going to now start getting a lot more messages from spirit. And so whenever you guys see a message from spirit, it's really important that you acknowledge it, because once you acknowledge it, it's kind of like spirit's like, oh, she got it. And we're like, oh yeah, we got it. Now we got that connection. We're like, okay, here we go. So I always acknowledge and say thank you when I see a sign, every single time. Ear's been ringing a lot. Yep. So the low pitch ringing on the right ear is going to be your spirit guides. The high pitch ringing on the right ear is going to be angels. And the left ear almost always is going to be your spirit guides. Sometimes when it happens both, usually we might have had a shift of energy of some sort, maybe a geomagnetic storm or something along those lines. I am Cindy. I go to the Schumann Resonance. So I follow a couple of people on Facebook in particular, like a Schumann Resonance group, and they're always the first ones before I can even look on the website. They're almost always talking about the spike that just happened, and then I go to look, and then you can see it. So there is a website, but almost always I'm in a couple of Schumann Resonance groups, and they post it before I even know anything about it. So, but almost always when that Schumann spikes, I'm gonna feel it, because have you ever just been sitting there, all of a sudden you're like, and you just feel crooked, and you're like, what in the heck just hit me? I'm like, that's a spike. Bracelet broke, couple beads broken in half, hit the floor. That means that you don't need that crystal anymore, Justy. Nope. Let it go. If you lose it or break it, you don't need it. It means vibrationally speaking, you're aligned to it, so you don't need it. Don't need it. Will there ever be a cure for deafness and blindness? To be real with you, I think they already have it, but that would mean that we'd start curing people and put the pharmaceutical business out of business. Boyfriend always hears hummingbirds at my house, only at my house all the time. Ooh, Amy, I can't remember what hummingbirds mean off the top of my head. I can't remember. So look up the spiritual meaning behind hummingbirds, but it's only going to pertain to him. So that he's going to have to read about what the spiritual meaning is, because most likely it does have something to do with you, but that is a sign directly for him, not for you, but you are involved in that somehow, if that makes any sense. Let's see here. My meditation told me to a full white place, could not stop smiling and laughing, place felt like heaven. Fine, you probably did go. You probably did go to heaven. So, or at least got right damn near at the door, one of the two. That's not a bad thing. That's pretty cool. Sarah, thoughts on Reiki? Hell yes. Triple hell yes. I love Reiki. So I get Reiki done about 4 times a year. And what that is somebody like an energy worker, somebody that can fix or align your chakras if they happen to be blocked or broken, and also things within the body. So like sore knees, sore muscles, stuff like that. So I love Reiki. I teach Reiki classes twice a year. Like I said, I am all for it. I love it. So I love the fact that hospitals are starting to get a little bit more loose with it now, and they're bringing in Reiki masters and allowing them to practice. So I'm like, love, because you can't hurt somebody with a positive intent of healing them. So I think it's great. La, 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 la. What do I think of acupuncture? Awesome. Awesome. I will tell you, the only person that I'm going to recommend that I've come across that who knows their shit. Her name is Dawn Huber, and she owns 13 Moons Acupuncture. And I will tell you, she is old school. Like, she went to China and studied. So she knows the old school stuff, not these chiropractors like, I'm an acupuncturist. I'm like, you studied for 4 years? No. So this chick went to China to study. So she is awesome. She has a practice about 72nd Dodge-ish. I'll tell you, look her up. She's amazing, absolutely amazing. She actually specializes with women's infertility as well. But there's a lot of people that have been to her. I have too. That just, I mean, you will notice a difference immediately, because she's unblocking not chakras, but meridian lines. So love it. Chronic shoulder, neck, back pain, headaches, Molly, that is all about perfectionism. Like I said that earlier, that headaches and things like that are because you are trying to be perfect for everybody around you, and you are literally taking on their pain and their burden as if it's your own. So the biggest thing I'm gonna tell you, Molly, is be selfish. Be a little bit more selfish here, but also understand that your perfectionism issue most likely is because of a narcissistic parent, or it's because you never wanted to disappoint your parents because one of your siblings was always chaotic. So it could be one of the two, but most likely that's the case. So I'm like, it's usually a childhood issue. Middle back, Lindsay, is almost always kids, about children. Brenda, correct. What does weight issues mean? Nanette, it depends. So my empaths always just are a little bit heavier. And the reason why is because they need the extra storage. So the fat storage. So because they vibrate naturally very high, other people don't. They talk to them. It's like osmosis. They get equaled out. The negative energy vampire leaves, and oh wait, somebody else calls. So at the end of the day, they're completely exhausted and they can't sleep all that well. So what ends up happening is the body is like, oh my gosh, I got to hold on to all these extra fat reserves because I know I'm going to lose them possibly the next day, all this energy. I know I'm going to lose this energy the next day, so I got to hold on to it. And number two, most of my empaths have a terrible habit of eating with negative emotions. Now, what do I mean by that? It's like you're going to eat a bag of chips and feel like crap, not because of the chips, because of your guilt, because they eat and go, oh God, I shouldn't have done that. I'm so fat. I should have never, I'm this, I'm that, so that's what goes on in their head. And then they feel bad. Then they open up the refrigerator and get more food. So I'm like, stop with the guilt. Stop, which is an empath's Achilles heel. So is guilt. That's why I'm like, if you're going to eat a damn cheesecake, eat the cheesecake, because in your head you deserve the cheesecake for helping all those people today. So that way you're not eating with a negative emotion. That's usually what it boils down to. You eat with a negative emotion, it's not going to sit well. Why do you think grandma's food was always so good and your mother could never replicate it? Because she literally made it with love. Vibrationally speaking, she made it with love. That's why. So that's why you should always pray over your food and be thankful and grateful, because you raise the vibration of the food. Therefore, it won't affect your stomach. It won't give you indigestion. It won't hurt. Blue apatite absolutely helps empaths with food stuff, especially emotionally eating. Brienne, perfect. Yes. Blue apatite is a crystal that I highly recommend. The other one, believe it or not, is jade, or especially yellow jade, or like yellow quartz would do it too, but yellow jade. And the reason why is because it ups the metabolism. That's a good one too. And then if I had to recommend one more, it would be red jasper, because red jasper is it's the upper. So like poppy jasper, brecciated jasper, those are all uppers. So those will kind of get you moving. They'll help with the physicality part of things. Amy, gray feathers, I think are change, if I remember right, or balance. It's one of the two. It's change or balance, but I can't remember off the top of my head. I have white jade. Perfect. Is there a good book that explains symbols and shapes commonly pop up in my mind while meditating? Shanda, I'm sure there is, but honestly, I Google that. So I almost always Google whatever shape it looks like. Sometimes they're light codes, so they're not always easy to decipher. But like I said, I would tell you just Google. That's usually where I find most of my stuff. And remember, if it resonates with you, then that's your truth. That's for you. But if you read it and you're like, that don't make no sense, I'm like, then it's not for you. I do not have pistachio opal, but I have pistachio green calcite. I don't know, but I've never heard of green pistachio opal. I've never heard of it. So, but doesn't mean I can't look into it. I don't, BC is asking a question about if she's going to meet the right life partner. I don't know. I'm not tapped in. I don't know. Hashimoto's hypothyroidism I have, is that the cause? Is it because I bit my tongue when I was a lot in my marriage and didn't speak your truth? Absolutely, Sarah. And now here's the other kicker, is that now that you're aware of where the Hashimoto's comes from, now I want you to take another step and look at your father figure, your biological father, and look into that and really look and dive in and be like, okay, did I bite my tongue with him too? Most likely, even into adulthood, you did. So, yeah, Jenny, overtired. I've been seeing lots of feathers and lots of different colored butterflies past 5 days. Yep, Lori, those are all signs from spirit. Like I said, always thank spirit when you see those signs. Always be like, hey, I got that. Thank you. I saw it. Even if you don't quite know what it means, still acknowledge it. And then, like I said, Google. So it's always the spiritual meaning of whatever it is. Breaking out in random rashes around ankles and arms. Just be, that is usually almost always, so that has to do with your job. I'm going to tell you, I already know it's stubborn, and usually that's because of your job. And the reason why you're getting these certain rashes most likely is because you're either irritated with your job, or it's because you feel that if you don't show up for work, everything's going to go to hell in a handbasket because you deem yourself extremely important at work, instead of going, you know what, I'm going to take a day off. They'll be fine without me. So that's most likely where it's coming from. Jenny, that lupus is definitely a reason why you would break out in a rash. Absolutely. Pain in the left leg or foot, Lizzie, that has everything to do with you not trusting your intuition, or not, you're being way too logical with this stuff. So I'm guessing, Lizzie, that you're really struggling with creativity, and you're really struggling with trying to really logically understand intuition and how it works, instead of just going with it and feeling it. And Just Be said spot on. Yep. That's where the rashes are coming from. That's what I'm like, I always tell people, you're allotted so many vacation days. Take them. Take them. You are not working your ass off to pay bills. You are working your ass off to have fun, adventures. That's what you're working your butt off for, things that you want. Pain in your right hip. That is because most likely you know what you need to do, whether that's leave a relationship, change a job. It has to do with your survival. So most likely it has to do with money. And you know what you need to do, and you just don't want to do it. And you most likely aren't going to do it because you care too much what other people think, or because you are point blank just scared shitless and letting fear win. Lindsay, if your fingers and cuticles are dry and cracking, that means to tell me that is definitely a nutritional issue. So you are missing probably vitamin E and some other nutritional things. So I would probably say take some vitamins or eat something specifically for that vitamin E. La, 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 la. How do you know what is a good Google source while learning about spirit guides? It'll feel right. You'll just read it and go, oh, that makes sense. There it is. So don't overthink it. You'll read it and go, that's why. Damn it. What was the metaphysical book again? It's literally called Metaphysical Anatomy. Oh, that's a good question, Bonnie. To manifest money when you're married, do you both have to ask to manifest? Yes. And I'll tell you, if two people are manifesting for the same thing, doubles the speed. So when he and I sit down and we're like, okay, what do we got ahead of us? What goals do we want to accomplish? The minute we write them down, we're able to make it happen pretty quick. I mean, here's the deal, guys. We've been open. It'll be, I believe, 4 years here in October. 4 years, and we're franchising. We kind of know how to manifest. So, but you have two people manifesting for the same thing for the betterment of themselves. Yes, individually, but as a partnership, doubles it. No, you don't have to manifest out loud necessarily. I write them down on a sheet of paper. That way there is no miscommunication. This is what I want. This is exactly what I want. God, source, energy, creator, please show me what I need to do to get this. Show me. Weird's going to happen. You follow the weird, you get it. I know that sounds simple. Keep spiritual things simple. The more complex you try to make it, longer it's going to take. Simple. So I'm like, make it simple. Keep it simple. Let's see here. Just received some obsidian from your store. Want to use it for an elixir, but looks like some rusty stuff on it. Obsidian. I'm gonna say, Sue, for obsidian, that one is kind of I would keep it on the outside of my jar and not put it in the water. So now if it's shungite, if it's shungite, you can totally do that. So like I said, I would stick it more on the side because I always tell people I'd rather be safe than sorry. So just put it on the outside of your water, pointing in towards the water, and then you can always grab some clear quartz to amplify that energy even more. That's what I would do. Or put the jar, if you can, kind of right on top of that obsidian, or take like a paper towel and put it on top of the water. So it really is your intent. That's it. Should I be nervous about seeing a lot of fives? Nope, because it could be a damn good thing. So before we knew what was going to be happening with Sioux Falls, we saw a lot of fives. And we're like, yep. He's like, yep. So we knew something was brewing, but we assumed it was going to be great. And it was. So we always assume the better. Always. Okay, I'm going to do one more. Can you imagine the power that prayer groups send out to the universe? Right? That's like putting hot sauce on it times 2. Let's see. How do I sage labradorite ring? Akara, I did a video on it. So like I said, I have a lot of videos on this YouTube channel. And if you guys haven't subscribed, I'm going to highly suggest you do. So, but I did a lot of that stuff on this. So like I said, when you guys have time, go back, watch the videos. I got lots of them talking about stuff like that. Can I put clear quartz in my wound water? Absolutely. You can put clear quartz, rose quartz, amethyst. We all know those are safe. So totally. As a matter of fact, I have these big rose quartz chunks that I'll put in my water when I bathe. Let's see. I'm going to do one more. Let's see. Crystals to help not overthink things. Katie, that's actually a good question. One, I'm going to say amethyst, but the best one is going to be lapilladite. And rainbow fluorite. Those are going to be your best ones. So those are going to be excellent to control the brains here a little bit. Okay, guys, I want to thank you guys so much for, again, attending and watching. I'm going to be doing a lot more Q&As. So throughout the day, what I've been telling people is most of us have cell phones. If you're like, oh, damn, I got to ask Kelli that, write it in your notes, write it down. Okay. So that way, like I said, when we do another Q&A live, whether it's on Facebook or Instagram or here on YouTube, that way you guys are able to be like, oh yeah, that's right. So I've been telling people, I'm like, write them down in your notes. because it's just a lot easier to do them on here instead of me answering like 50 questions via Messenger. So it just makes it a lot easier. And then, like I said, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please make sure that you do. And then also subscribe me to my newsletter. So you just have to go to my website, which is psychickelli.com. It's at the very, very bottom. And you just simply put in your email address. And I don't overdo emails. I don't like a lot of emails anyway. So, but about once, I'm trying. It's more like once every other week, but I try to do it once a week to send out newsletters. So, but I got a lot of events on the calendar. So like I said, hope to see you guys here pretty soon. But again, I'll show you this book. I'm going to highly suggest you get it, Metaphysical Anatomy of that Rose. And I will be talking to, and before I forget, if you haven't signed up, I am doing an Angels and Spirit Guides workshop. It's $25. It's going to be available via Zoom. Whether you're able to attend or not, doesn't matter. I've got it recorded, but I can only have 100 people on that slot. And right now, I think I'm sold about 56 or 57 tickets. So I have a few left over. So don't wait. And that's going to be on Thursday. It's Thursday evening. So, so if you guys want to check that out, make sure that you do that. And then lastly, if you could give me a little thumbs up there on this channel, so that way just more people see it. All right, guys, thank you so much. And we will be talking to you soon. Bye.